And what did LeBron do? He missed the first, what was it, month and a half? Yeah, 14 games. And he was just saying, screw you, I'm not going to play for a while. That's what sciatica my ass.
LeBron can affect the game like nobody has ever done. And so when he's not playing defense to this caliber, and it's blaring, the eye in the sky don't lie.
Skip, Bayless and Rashad McCants just ignited a major debate about LeBron James, and whether you support him or criticize him, this conversation raises serious questions. This isn't about hate or age, it's about accountability, effort, and leadership. The argument centers on one key idea: when a superstar is perceived to step back defensively, it can impact the entire team. The discussion challenges whether greatness should come with consistent effort on both ends of the floor.
He's unstoppable on both sides. But when he's disengaged, bro, our team looks dismal.
Let's be honest, if LeBron James is still capable of dominating offensively and defensively, should age be used as an automatic excuse for reduced defensive intensity? Or are we adjusting the narrative simply to protect his legacy? At what point does accountability matter more than reputation? Drop your thoughts and let's have a real basketball conversation.
He's year 23, and the Los Angeles Lakers did not want him back. They shamed him and dared him to go into free agency and end it somewhere else. And remember, he would show up in the Clippers facility working out, and he went up to Cleveland and worked out like, I'm going to go here, I'm going to end it in Cleveland. I dare you back, I dare you back. And they said, no, we will not extend you.
LeBron missed 14 games earlier in the season due to sciatica, which is a legitimate injury. No one disputes that. The real question began when he returned. Did he come back gradually rebuilding full effort on both ends, or did it appear that offensive production was prioritized while defensive engagement seemed inconsistent? When a player earns over $50 million per year, fans expect full commitment to the complete game, not just one side of the ball.
But you got us by the ball because you got that option, and it's your option, and if you exercise it, we're stuck with you.
Right. No trade clause.
Yeah, no trade. And what did LeBron do? He missed the first, what was it, month and a half? Yeah, 14 games. And he was just saying, screw you, I'm not going to play for a while. That's what sciatica my ass. You know, like
sciatica, though. The sciatica.
Literally,
Skip initially gave LeBron the benefit of the doubt, pointing to his age, nearly 41 years old and in his 23rd season. That kind of mileage is rare. However, game footage tells its own story. When fully locked in, LeBron remains one of the most impactful two-way players in the league. The evidence shows he can still dominate defensively when engaged. That's why critics argue the issue isn't ability, it's consistency.
So he comes back and he says, screw you, I'll play offense, but I won't play any defense.
100%, Skip.
That's
Go
what he's
there.
saying.
Are you going to cook them then?
Well, and so he's playing a career low 33 minutes a game. And by the way, speaking of 33, last night he was an all-time Laker low for him. Since he's been with the Lakers, he was a minus 33. That was the third worst of his career.
Rashad McCants took a firm stance: if you sign a contract, you fulfill it completely. Age doesn't change professional responsibility. Availability and effort define the job. From this perspective, if the Lakers struggle defensively, LeBron, as the team's leader, shares in that responsibility. Even small moments, like not rotating on defense or failing to contest a drive, can send a signal to teammates. Leadership is demonstrated through action, not words.
I feel sorry for him in this situation because it just feels wrong, and it was wrong from the start. Yeah. So here he is, and he won't play defense, and his podcast partner is not going to call him out because he loves him, and he got the job because of him, like you said. So this is a mess, man.
This becomes especially important because LeBron sets the tone for the entire roster. Younger players model their effort after him. Veterans respond to his intensity. If he appears disengaged on certain possessions, that energy can spread. Defensive focus can become inconsistent across the team. When leadership drops in intensity, the ripple effect can impact overall performance.
You're paying this 41-year-old $52 million. Should he give us more effort? You're not going to say that in the conversation because there's no other 41-year-olds that was doing this with his age. We get that. There's no other 40-year-olds that's ever in history been doing what LeBron James does. So at what point does he have to stop tricking us as if he can't do this at the highest level still?
Another angle discussed is the business side of the situation. The Lakers reportedly didn't immediately commit long-term and allowed LeBron to explore options, including workouts elsewhere. Eventually, he opted in and secured a no-trade clause, giving him significant control over his future. This adds another layer to the debate about expectations, loyalty, and organizational dynamics.
LeBron can affect the game like nobody has ever done. And so when he's not playing defense to this caliber and it's blaring, the eye in the sky don't lie. We can show you film from before when LeBron James was engaged and ready to go, full sense of urgency. He's unstoppable on both sides. But when he's disengaged, bro, our team looks dismal. We can never recover if he's not locked in. And the fact that we can't hold him accountable and you want to put the accountability on somebody else when he's still the best player it's unbelievable.
This is where the conversation shifts into the deeper, more controversial territory, the so-called hostage discussion. Once a superstar opts into a massive contract and secures full control over their future, the dynamics of the franchise change completely. The organization loses flexibility. Roster moves become harder. Cap space tightens. Long-term planning becomes more complicated. When a player holds that much leverage, including clauses that restrict trade options, the balance of power is no longer traditional. That reality adds weight to every performance, every effort level, and every public statement. Critics argue that with that level of influence comes heightened responsibility. If a player has the ability to shape the roster structure, the expectation is that effort and consistency should match the commitment financially and competitively. It's not just about talent anymore, it's about leadership under pressure. Then there's the 14-game absence, officially attributed to sciatica. The injury itself may be legitimate, sciatica is real and physically limiting. However, in professional sports, timing always becomes part of the conversation. When a star misses extended time, fans analyze context, momentum, team performance, and return impact. The real focus began once he returned. Did the comeback reflect a gradual return to full two-way engagement? Or did it appear that offensive production resumed more quickly than defensive intensity? That distinction is what fuels debate. Because at this level, effort is not optional, especially for someone considered the face of the franchise. What complicates things further is that the ability is clearly still visible. This isn't about decline. When fully locked in, the flashes are undeniable. Strong downhill drives. Timely rotations. Chase down blocks. Clutch scoring stretches. Defensive possessions where communication is sharp and positioning is disciplined. Those moments prove the capability hasn't disappeared. The athleticism remains. The basketball IQ remains. The physical tools are still there. That's why the criticism centers on consistency rather than skill. If the capability exists, then the discussion becomes about choice and engagement, not limitation. And that's where the GOAT conversation inevitably enters the picture. When players enter historical comparisons, standards increase. Legacy debates require scrutiny. Greatness is not measured only by statistics or longevity, it is measured by total impact, including defensive commitment, leadership tone, and competitive consistency. Some fans argue that in earlier eras, accountability was absolute. The expectation was full engagement every night. Defense was not negotiable. Effort was a baseline requirement, not a situational decision. From that perspective, if a player wants to remain in the all-time discussion, the standard should not soften over time. Others counter that age, mileage, and career longevity naturally shift priorities. At nearly 41 years old in a 23-year career, sustaining peak defensive intensity every possession may not be realistic. They argue that experience, strategic positioning, and selective effort are part of managing a long career at an elite level. That's where the disagreement lives. Now let's talk about team dynamics. When a roster revolves and new partnerships form, the internal hierarchy can subtly change. Chemistry develops between players. Offensive rhythm may run through different combinations. When that happens, long-standing stars sometimes adjust to new roles. Adjustments are normal in professional sports, but they can affect emotional rhythm and engagement. Financial structure also plays a role. A large contract limits flexibility. When a significant portion of salary cap space is allocated to one player, roster construction becomes tighter. That can impact depth, trade possibilities, and future development plans. Even if no one publicly acknowledges it, those realities influence front office decisions and long-term strategy. From a leadership standpoint, critics argue that tone setting matters most on defense. If the team's best player communicates, rotates, and competes consistently, it raises the collective standard. If effort appears inconsistent, younger players may subconsciously mirror that energy. Leadership, in this view, is less about speeches and more about visible habits. Supporters respond that leadership can take many forms. Offensive dominance, clutch performances, mentorship, and experience all contribute to team culture. They argue that expecting constant defensive peak performance at this stage may overlook the realities of age and workload. At the center of the debate is a simple question. Is this about declining ability or selective engagement? Because the evidence suggests the skill is still there. That's what makes the discussion so intense. When someone can still produce elite moments, fans expect that level to appear more consistently. The frustration isn't necessarily about what he can't do. It's about what observers believe he still can do, but doesn't always choose to do on every possession. And that's why the criticism continues. Some believe the evaluation is fair and grounded in performance standards. Others believe the scrutiny is exaggerated and ignores age context. Both perspectives exist, and both have arguments. But what is undeniable is this. When a player places himself in the GOAT conversation, expectations rise accordingly. The debate does not soften because of age. Legacy discussions come with permanent standards. Greatness, by definition, is demanding. It requires consistency. It requires leadership under pressure. It requires showing up on both ends of the floor, especially when your presence defines the team. Until the performance narrative fully aligns with expectations on a nightly basis, the discussion will continue. And that's why this conversation isn't going away.